back to another video brought to you by your one and only Literary Pharaoh. I'm going to be talking about the movie called Him, right? And there's been a lot of chatter online and a lot of people giving their take on the film. And I think that the film is much deeper. You know I'm going to come with a deeper perspective than anybody else. I'm not just talking about the surface stuff, the stuff that they obviously want you to talk about. The symbolism in the movie, the selling of the soul to be in a sports association, whether you want to be affiliated with a league or an association, be it NBA, MLBA, whatever. There's nothing wrong with pursuing dreams, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be an athlete, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be the best at what you do. If you watch the movie, it's a little bit on the extreme in terms of the sacrifices that they're saying that these athletes make. There's some athletes that are just God-gifted. When I say God-gifted, I'm talking about genetics. It's just something that's within their DNA. They're just great. There's some athletes that are gifted and they work hard, and if you add those two concepts together, then you're going to get great outcomes. If you are already gifted, but then you're working your ass off as if you're not gifted, that's insanity. You're putting together a recipe for greatness. That's what happens. So when I'm watching the film, I started to kind of think to myself, I'm like, well, this movie is more than just football. I mean, in my eyes, my perspective, that's the way that I took it. I took it from a movie that's supposed to be about sports, all right? Well, particularly football. And you have an African-American man playing the role of the quarterback, and they liken it to slaves who are being drafted and being put on a plantation, and the owners are the slave masters and the football players are the slaves or the workers. The sport of football is brutal, and we understand that slavery was brutal, so there's some similarities there. You have the slavery component that has its own particular way of brutality that comes upon the person that's working, the person that's being abused. In football, you also have that brutal element as well, because yes, it's football, it's for our entertainment, but those players go through a lot. The injuries, the trainings, the injections, the things that they have to do just to stay upright, the mental stress, the physical stress. I mean, you name it. So, I mean, both concepts harness its own mode of brutality, if I can say that. There's brutality in slavery, and there's brutality in sports. Another similarity is that sports, particularly football for our African American athletes, it has a deeper drive into the psyche of males, of young males, especially young melanated males or African American males. Why do I say that? There's a psychology that's wound up in this whole NFL thing, because media, again, has its hand in the NFL. So does the CIA. I've told you before countless times in this video that everything is based upon psychological operations. Everything has a psychological component to it. When young boys are growing up, go ask them. I work with them. Ask them what they want to be. 95% of African American males, boys, young boys, they're either aspiring to be in the NBA, in the NFL, Major League Baseball. They're trying to get to those associations or those leagues. Is there something wrong with that? No, there's nothing wrong with it. Inherently, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, there's just on face value. But the problem with it is that the way that this league or these leagues and these associations are marketed to the public, it's portrayed to be the holy grail of everything. It's portrayed to be the prize of life. So that's why you see these players crying when they get drafted, not knowing that your tears are nothing but tears that are going to be emblematic and symbolic of your own destruction. You're crying because you think you've made it. You haven't made it. You know who's made it? The owners have made it. Because the league continues. As long as they're able to continue to draft young men in their youth, in their prime, where they have the capacity, and they do have the capacity to function on the highest level. You don't get your youth back. You're only young once. So these men, they are robbed of their youth to put money in the pockets of these owners. Is there something wrong with that? No, not really, because the athletes are also beneficiaries of playing in these leagues or these associations, be it the NBA, Major League Baseball, or NFL, whatever. But for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to just stick to the NFL because the movie Him is about football. They get money. They're not playing for free, right? But the toll that sports takes on the human body and the human experience is something that you can't put a price on. When football is stripped from a young athlete due to maybe injury, maybe a player gets cut, do you understand the amount of depression that these athletes go through? Because all their lives they were told that this is what they are. All their lives they've pursued this goal of being in this league. All of their lives they've been told that they are the best thing ever. When they went to middle school, when they went to high school, they were the man on campus. When they went to college, they were worshipped. Then you get to the NFL, the competition is stiffer. You have the best of the best in one league. So sometimes these great athletes don't make the cut. Making it to the NFL is harder than you guys think. Maintaining a career in the NFL is even harder. Getting there is hard. Maintaining a career. When I say career, I mean playing longer than the average span of an NFL player. Did you know that the statistic says, not me, this is not literary Pharaoh saying this, this is not me pulling this out of my butthole, this is me telling you what the stat says, that the average span of an NFL player is 5 to 7 years. 5 to 7 years. And I think at one point it was 3 to 5 years, but the last time I looked, I think it was 5 to 7 years. So let's do the math. A player graduates from high school at the age of 18. Let's just say 18. They get to college, they're 18 years old. Their freshman year, they're 18. Sophomore year, 19. Junior year, 20. Senior year, 21. Let's say 21 or 22 years old. They get drafted. Their rookie year, they're 22 years old. Let's do the math. 5 years. So you'll be 27 or 29 years old when your career is over in the NFL. What do you do with the rest of your life? 28, 29, you're still young. You see what I'm saying? How they've robbed your youth? Your 20s are gone. But when I say rob, I use that haphazardly because they're not really robbing you if you invest your money wisely and know that the league is not something that you can do for 20 years. Like, it's not realistic for any athlete to get into the NFL to think that they can last that long. It's a brutal sport. It's a very violent sport, and no one lasts that long. Tom Brady, you have some outliers, positions like quarterback, where now quarterbacks are protected, you can perhaps last long if you have a pristine diet and you have top-notch athletic trainers and you put your body through a hard discipline of being strict with limiting yourself to certain foods and supplements that are going to sustain your career. So it's rare, but the average span of an NFL player is 5 to 7 years. So with that being said, there's nothing wrong with trying to be in NFL, but there's something wrong with the way it's marketed, as I said earlier. And it has this end all be all to it, right? It's like, if you don't make it in this league, then you're nothing. You say, how do you know this? Well, most girls, most young women who are jaded, but they're not to blame for it, they're just young, they get excited when they find out that they're dating an athlete. Not just a normal athlete. I'm talking about a professional athlete. What comes with being a professional athlete? Money. That's what they think. But in the NFL, most of these rookies are playing on something called a rookie contract. And as you know, if anybody who's familiar or knowledgeable about how the NFL works, your rookie contract, you're still getting paid. Don't get me wrong. You're still getting paid more than the average person. But you don't get drafted and automatically become some rich millionaire. That's not the way it works. You are on your rookie deal initially when you come into the NFL. Your rookie deal is from 3 to 4 years, I believe. And most players don't even make it through their deal because some get injured and they're never the same and they get cut. But the ones that are good and that produce during their rookie deal, then those players, which are very few, are allowed to renew their contract and negotiate to get paid more money than their rookie deal, just to maintain their career. If you understood the amount of money that these billionaire owners made off of these football players, you would understand the slave plantation mentality. These players are getting pennies compared to what the owners make. Now, there's nothing wrong, because the way this capitalistic society works is that it's a dog-eat-dog world. It's a dog-eat-dog world. So you're always going to have CEOs and owners getting paid more than the workers. We get that. That's why I said that it's a very complicated subject to just lay the claim of a black and white principle on it. It's more than black and white. It's multicolored. It's a complex story to delve into, because it's not just the NFL is bad or the NBA is bad. These leagues have helped out a lot of families and they've helped out a lot of people, but you have to be smart. I like what Megatron did in the NFL. He didn't play very long. He got out the game, kept his faculties intact. I'm sure he used his money wisely and invested in certain things. That's what you're supposed to do. You have to outsmart the system. So when people are dogging the NFL and saying how these players are selling their souls and doing all this, and people likened I think it was Marlon Wayans who played the role of the quarterback of the team called the Saviors. And I thought that the name of the team was sort of obviously telling. These players think that when they get drafted, they're being saved. They're not being saved. That's the irony of it all. You're not being saved. You're just entering a slave job, just like everybody else. So that's where I wanted to come in on this video, that I don't think that the NFL should be getting the heat that it gets, or this stigma, and especially with African American men who choose to play in the NFL as if you're a slave. We're all slaves. We all go to work for a wage. We all make sacrifices like NFL players make sacrifices. Sacrifice is sacrifice, folks. It doesn't matter how hard it is or which one's more brutal. I mean, waking up every fucking morning to go to work every freaking day when you don't freaking feel like it, that's a damn sacrifice. When you have to leave your family behind, stuff your kids in daycare, moms can't build a relationship with their children to connect with them or bond because they have to freaking go to work and dump their kids at a daycare facility. Not only that, pay thousands of dollars a month for daycare. Have you seen daycare costs? So don't give me this shit about the NFL being so bad and NFL players are selling their souls and doing all this and doing that. We all have sold our souls, idiots, including me on this freaking video. We've all done it. I think it's a time when we have to be honest with ourselves and tell the truth of what we are and what we've become. People often want to look in the Bible and talking about the mark of the beast. Oh, if you got the mark of the beast, you can't go to heaven. We all have the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is the system that you're under. The only way you can escape this system is to unplug. But it's hard to unplug. Because if you unplug, you're going to be literally homeless. You literally have to go to a place where there's no electricity, there's no technology, and just live off the land. Not many people have that skill or that ability to do that. We've been conditioned and trained to merge our lives and the way we live and the way we reason into this system. It's a beast system. You won't enter heaven if you have the mark of the beast. We all have the mark of the beast. This is why we're all not living to our higher selves. And your higher selves is the heaven. Heaven is a mind state, not some physical place where you go. So I'm not completely subscribing to what the biblical context says, because they stole those narratives from other books, and they completely misinterpreted those utterances, and they've made you believe that heaven and hell is a physical place that you go to, but yet it's supposed to be a spiritual book. It's not a place you go to, you idiot. You're always going to carry the law of duality with you. There's always going to be a heaven and a hell concept in everything that you delve into. There's always a up to a down. There's always a down to a up. There's always a moon to a sun. There's always a sun to a moon. So even if you go to heaven, hell would exist in heaven. And if you go to hell, heaven would exist in hell. It's all in here. It's in your temple. It's how you reason. So we can't even function to our optimal state as human beings, which will be the heaven state. We can't do that because we're stuck going to freaking work. We have the mark of the beast. The people who are living in heaven are the people who control the system, who sit back where money is not even a thing to them. They just use money to control us. Money is a tool. They have so much money that it doesn't matter how much they lose or how much they gain. Money is not a factor. And I know it's hard for you guys to wrap your head around that concept, because money is something serious to everybody else. Everybody talks money. My money, my bills. I want to win the lottery. My money, my money, my money. I want to get a job to get more money. My money, my money, my money, my money, my money. Salary, money, 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 money. I'm trying to get a job to get a higher salary. Blah, 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 blah. Money, 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 money. To us, the layman, money means everything to us. To those that are already in the heaven state, money means nothing to them, because they don't operate with money. They just use money as a tool to control us. That's the difference. It's hard for you to wrap your head around that, because you think that the world revolves around money. Yes, it revolves around money, but there's some that control the money. And if you can control the money, then you can control the world. Simple and plain. Simple and plain. So just don't limit the critique to football and sports and say that these athletes are selling their souls. I just don't want these athletes to put their all in all into sports. If you're a great athlete and you can make millions of dollars doing what you love to do, then do it. But just don't put your whole life into it. When you start to get injured and you start to realize, hey, this may not be something I want to do long term, then you can get out of the game. You can retire early and invest your money into another business. That's what you should do. Don't spend your money tricking on women, chasing women, buying homes that you don't need, buying mansions. Buy a normal house. Be very frugal. Be very economical with your money. Be smart with your money, because that money doesn't last. There's many stories of athletes that have retired that are literally broke, living under a bridge. They're done. So don't give Don't give professional sports such a bad name. There's nothing wrong with professional sports. Then if there's something wrong with professional sports, then there's something wrong with every other job in the world. So if there's something wrong with sports, then there's something wrong with everything, because yes, sports are a form of entertainment, but we talk about these players making sacrifices, but as I said earlier, we all make sacrifices. We all do it. We're not just sitting on our ass doing what the hell we want, and these athletes having to come back from broken bones, broken ligaments, excruciating back pain, leg pain, bruises, contusions, concussions, CTE. I can go on and on, all the things that these athletes go through just to stay in the sport. Yes, that's extreme. I'm not doing all that in my job, but I'm still making sacrifices to make a living. Those athletes are making a sacrifice to make the money that they make. Yes, they love the sport. They wouldn't play for free, though. To the point that college athletes are now getting paid, the good ones. NIL. They're getting NIL money. So, I mean, stop it. Stop it. Let's not be all dramatic and talk about these little stupid ass symbols that are in the movie. They get you guys all the time with that nonsense. You guys, the Illuminati, the devil, pray to Jesus, the devil, the demons. You're stupid. Everything in life, like I told you guys before, the whole system that governs us is a demonic system. Demonic in the sense that it's not put here for us to operate at our highest capacity in terms of the vibrational output that we can emit. It means that we're not operating or functioning at our highest self. We are functioning constantly in a lower state of vibration. That's what you call hell. Jealousy, greed, betrayal, shame, guilt, anger, stress. All those emotions govern this third dimensional realm. That's hell. There are a few people who live in hell, live amongst inhabitants of hell, but they've ascended to heaven internally in their minds through meditation, proper eating, sunlight, discipline, and systematically unplugging themselves from the beast system. I'm one of those people. I can say these things in truth. Yes, I go to work. It doesn't make me miserable because I have to go to work, but I understand it for what it is. I don't let my occupation or my job be the determining factor of who I am. It's not the litmus test to define me. It doesn't define me. I define me by how I think and how I reason. Give a fuck what kind of job I work. Whether you're a trash man, whether you're a janitor, whether you work at McDonald's, I don't give a fuck where you work at. Don't let your job ever be something that identifies who you are. The job is nothing but a social construct made by the hands of men used to control people. You are a person. You are priceless. You are great. You are a king. You are a god. Don't let your job define you. You'll be an idiot if you do that. You'll be miserable. Then you'll be comparing yourself. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a scientist. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. A true king is a free man. None of us are free because we're tied to working like worker bees. So yeah, give the athletes a break. They're good. If you're gonna demonize football players and demonize NFL, then I would say demonize your job, because you make sacrifices every day. You lose sleep every day. Why do I have to wake up at 3 in the morning, or 3:15, or 3:10 in the morning? Why do I have to wake up so damn early? Because I go to work. I have to wake up early to work out so I can go to work. Because if I don't wake up that early to work out, I won't have a chance to take care of myself. I would literally just go to work, come home, and that'll be my life. I don't want to live like that. And I don't want to come home and work out in the afternoon because my kids are home at that time. They may need help with their homework. Me and my wife are doing things together with the kids. That's the time for us to relax, to get ready for the next day. So it's just more efficient for us to wake up in the morning, me and my wife, and work out. But why do we have to make that fucking sacrifice of waking up that damn early? Who wakes up that early to go work out? Nobody does that. There are hardly few people that I know that does that. I had probably a small percentage, not even 1%. Yeah, I know a lot of people go to gyms, that people have gym memberships. I get that. But find me a man, not a single man, because when you're single, you can navigate the streets and do whatever the hell you want, right? Find me a man that has a wife and 3 children that has that type of discipline. It's rare. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but the point that I'm making is that we all make sacrifices to get what we want. But my sacrifices are made more for myself than it is for my job. But my job is the foundation that guides the sacrificing. So in other words, if I didn't work, I wouldn't have to wake up that damn early. If I didn't have a job, I would wake up when I freaking felt like it and then go work out. But because I work, because my kids have to go to school, I had to wake up that early to get my workout in, to run my 3 miles, to go to the gym, run home, get showered, get my son ready, get my daughter ready, make their beds. My wife is downstairs cooking their breakfast, getting their lunch and getting their lunch and making them breakfast in the morning. We're all ripping and running. We're all doing stuff in the house. Why? Because we have to go to work. Sacrifices. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think, man. Peace. Till next time.